All right, everybody. You didn't think we'd get this far without a negative feedback loop. So let's talk about it. Here are two ways that we can regulate blood pressure. Just general mechanisms for regulating blood pressure. Number one, cardiac output. Right? So now that we know what that is, it's the amount of blood being pushed out of the heart and into the arteries per minute. So how much blood is getting moved through the arteries every minute. When this level goes up, this is going to increase your blood pressure, right? Think about it. More liquid in a certain amount of time, the higher the blood pressure you're going to have, right? When that happens, when the blood pressure increases, you have baroreceptors. These are receptors inside of your arteries that specifically in your aorta that specifically register the pressure. So these are pressure receptors. And they notice, oh, the blood pressure is too high, right? So this is how you notice. This is the stimulus needed for your body to go, oh, we have too high of blood pressure. Let's do something about this. These sensory impulses are going to go to the cardiac center and therefore tell the heart or therefore activate the parasympathetic pathway, right? Why parasympathetic? Because parasympathetic is rest and digest. It wants to slow things back down, right? So our body recognized the high pressure and then sent a parasympathetic response to the heart and told it, hey, let's slow down. How does it actually slow down? Because you can't just say slow down. What's happening here? What's going to happen is the SA node, the sinoatrial node in the atrium, it is going to be inhibited. Meaning the pacemaker is going to be told to slow down. When the pacemaker is told to slow down, you decrease the heart rate. So now you have less beats per minute. If you have less beats per minute, blood pressure starts to return to normal. Right? So that's just one example. And if you're still unsure why, here's the calculation that we need to do at the beginning. So what is cardiac output? Cardiac output is stroke volume, which is the volume, times beats per minute. So in this case, if our stroke volume, again, I made up a number, 10 units, and we're going to have 10 beats per minute, right? So 10 times 10 equaled 100, right? So units per minute, right? So that's our general example. That's too high. By the end of this, if we decrease our heart rate from 10 beats, 10 beats per minute to, I don't know, 5, now our number goes from 10 times 10 to 10 times 5. 5 beats per minute, which is going to be equal to 50. So then, therefore, our number just decreased. So if you're a numbers person, there's an example. We went from 10 stroke volume in 10 beats per minute to 10 stroke volume at, in this case, 5 beats per minute. So that's one way to lower the blood pressure. Next, another example we can talk about. If you have high blood pressure, again, we're going to have stimulation of the baroreceptors, just like we did in the first one. But in this case, it's going to be sensed by the vasomotor center. So in other words, the blood vessels. The vasomotor center is going to be inhibited. So therefore, we're going to have less frequent sympathetic impulses from the arterial walls. So our blood vessels are going to go from a certain size to a larger size. They're going to dilate, right? So parasympathetic pathway is going to dilate the muscles in the blood vessels, and the sympathetic pathway is going to constrict them. So if we notice we have a high blood pressure, we are then going to stop sending the sympathetic pathway, which constricts it, and it'll relax and dilate. The decreased peripheral resistance, that's a fancy word for the fact that now we have a bigger opening, is going to reduce the pressure. So going back to the hose, imagine if you have a hose with an opening that's this big, but you have your thumb over it, right? That means water can only exit that area. So you're able to squeeze the end of it, and the water starts shooting across the yard. Right? You can spray someone across the yard. That's how we started. That's the high blood pressure. What we're doing is we are now taking it. We're taking our thumb off the end. Now we have this entire opening to work with, and now it's not really squirting across the entire backyard anymore. Now it's just flowing like normal. You just lowered the pressure. If you have questions on any of this, because I know this is something that helps when you discuss it, when we talk it out loud, please come to lab and I'll happily talk about it with you. So here are a couple ways to regulate blood pressure.